Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I don't have any questions, but I would, if I could be permitted to do so, kind of summarize what I've heard, not only today, but with some of the other testifiers before us. Some of what I'm hearing I like. Some I'm very disappointed. I think I'm known as a legislator that's not a bomb thrower, and that I really do try to listen and work bipartisanly to get things done. And when the previous administration was here with their budget secretary, there was some frustrations that I outlined from my perspective as well. So I'd like to take the opportunity to do that and also speak to the people that live in my district. What I'm hearing are that we have jobs where employers and employees are going to pay more in taxes, schools that are going to tax books, meal plans, and student fees, where 19 schools will receive funds, but all students at all higher education schools will be paying. Government that works. Now, this is where I agree with what Representative Dean said. One of the things that's been very frustrating on this committee is for every year as part of this process, and I really thought that this year, you know, with the Wolf Stack administration, that things were going to change. Those line items that were taken out that were very minuscule, and the claim that we have an austere, still have an austere budget, to me speaks to credibility. One of my colleagues mentioned the two words, intellectually honest. We heard a prior questioner mention the word one-time gimmicks. I think this is a continual gimmick. This is a year-to-year gimmick that what's being proposed here. I voted for slots, but I voted against the property tax relief that came from that. I was one of 3 members that voted for the slots bill, but voted against the property tax relief. Because it was a scheme. It was a scam. Nothing was going to freeze the property taxes. We still have constituents saying, I thought we were going to get relief for that. Well, if you look on your homestead, if you look on your bill, you'll see a little bit of homestead relief. Property taxes have increased significantly. Nothing that's been said today gives any credibility to the fact that property taxes aren't going to continue to skyrocket. We've heard discussion about, over the last couple weeks, severance taxes, Education Reinvestment Act. Yet, if you look at the legislation itself, there's nothing in there that allocates any money to education. It's not even in black and white. It speaks to credibility. We had the IFO in here that talked about a budget deficit of about $1.5 billion, followed by the Attorney General, who talked about the Medicaid fraud and abuse and the opportunity to collect hundreds of millions of dollars. Human Services Secretary was in yesterday saying the same thing. The treasurer, the individual representing the treasurer, spoke to the fact that revenues on unclaimed property were going to be well in excess of what was anticipated by the tune of $150 million, yet we still continue to hear $2 billion. From my perspective, from the people that I represent, they were expecting more from an honesty and openness standpoint, instead of immediately after the campaign continuing with sound bites. It speaks to frustration that people have with government. It speaks to why I ran, why I say the way it is, regardless of the party. And if you expect people in my district to support this plan, you got to come out day one and be much more candid. Mr. Chairman, I don't have any further comments to make. Again, it was just kind of a summarization of what I've heard for the last 2 weeks, what I've heard today, what I've heard from my constituents. In fact, I heard one of my person that contacted me wasn't even a constituent. It was from Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. Said, look, I'm in favor of this, what the governor's proposing, but I'm not in favor of sending any more money to Harrisburg until I know that everything's accounted for and what you guys are telling me is true. I can't sell this. I could sell Act 89. I can't sell this because I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust what I'm being told. I don't trust the sound bites. I don't trust the spin. I don't trust sucking billions of dollars to Harrisburg and that stuff's not going to be hidden in line items somewhere like it has been for years upon years. There's nothing different here other than we're saying we're different. The proof is in the pudding, and when you come out of the box taking $100,000 out of diabetes, out of ALS, it's the same old game, yet you want $8 billion from constituents. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. I can only say that...
There wasn't a question. We've heard it. We've heard it. Please let me just stay what my constituents were saying as they're listening to this for the last 3 weeks. That's all I'm asking, Mr. Chairman.
But all I can tell you, Representative, is that when every homeowner in the Mount Lebanon School District has their property tax bill reduced by $900, that will be different.
That's fine for Mount Lebanon. I'm not from Mount Lebanon. So, you know, the people in Moon Township and North Fayette and
in Moon Township
and Findlay Township are going to be paying $30 million more to Harrisburg. So all day long, I'll tell you what, all day long, I'll give you 50 cents and you give me $1. We can stand here all day and do it, and I'll be retired.
And again,
and the people in my district do not trust it. That's why they didn't believe the scheme under the slots, and they see this as a scheme, a slot scheme on steroids. That's all they see it as. And you're resetting the clock back to the early 2000s, and that's not what they want to see reset. They want to see government reset. And if you're not going to be honest with us, and you're going to put little flyers up that say one thing, and as the chairman stated, if you drill down and you talk to my individual homeowners, it ain't happening. So you can sit here and try and spin it all day long with me, but that's not what my constituents believe because you haven't demonstrated it.